Hey, hey, hey. Time for the Out of This World story from rSpace. Some people say follow your dreams. This cheater heard that and thought it meant download Tinder. Today on rSpace, the moral of the story isn't deep. It's just, don't cheat on the person who tried to build your dream life, unless your dream life involves court dates, alimony, and crying in a one-bedroom apartment. Wife said I held her back from her dreams, so she cheated. I left her, and she saw I was the only reason her life was as good as it was. I, 33 male, have been married to Lily, 32 female, for 6 years. We had our first child last year, and she is only 1 year old and some months, so we're still kind of new to the parent thing. I grew up with parents who weren't exactly the best. They were horrible spouses to one another too. Instead of perpetuating that cycle, I told myself that I was going to break free of it and make sure that I am an amazing father to my daughter and an amazing husband to my wife. As much as I have tried to be a great husband, I don't think it matters anyway, because at the end of the day, someone who wants to be ungrateful will be ungrateful. Some background that you need to understand is that I went to the same college as my wife. We only started dating after we both graduated, but she said she wanted to get a master's and then go into her dream career. I was entirely in support of that. After we got married, knowing that I was with her forever, I really started to encourage her to apply for a master's program, especially because I could help provide and make things easier for her. I don't know whether the problem was that she had gotten complacent after having been out of school for so long, but she would always make excuses. Eventually, we moved to a different city in a completely different region of the country, and that was because I got a pretty significant job offer. It would have made no sense for me to say no to it. She also wasn't very strongly opposed to us moving, beyond the typical anxiety of leaving a life behind and starting a new one somewhere else. She got over it, though, and ended up being excited, since the new city was a bigger one. As we moved, I brought up the master's program at another point. It would have made even more sense then because I was earning a lot more. Paying for a program wouldn't have been that tough. Her response to that was, I wanted to do my master's in the other city. It didn't make sense to me because the institutions in the new city were objectively better, especially for a program she wanted. But she claimed that our move had ruined that plan for her. I even wanted to compromise. It was a 1-year program, so I told her that it didn't matter if we weren't long distance for that single year, if she really wanted to go to that badly. She said that she hated long distance relationships, and she said I knew that, which was fair because I did know, but us moving back wasn't a real option. I tried to point out that she could either get used to the idea of a new school, or she would have to move back to our old city for a year so she could go to the school she wanted to go to, but neither of those worked for her and I didn't know what to do. So eventually, I just left the topic entirely. We never talked about it again, at least not before our daughter was born. That was the choice that both of us made. It wasn't like an accident. We both said that we were ready to have our first child, and thankfully, it didn't take too much trying before she was able to confirm that she was pregnant. We had the normal teething, pun intended, issues that parents tend to have, but we've gotten used to the things for the most part, and we've now reached a good balance. That's what you need to know before I get into why I'm writing this post in the first place. I found out that my wife was cheating, and honestly, it shattered me. Like I said, I've tried my best to be a good husband, and before that, a good boyfriend. I've never intentionally done her wrong, and the times I found out that I hurt her without intent, I always made sure to make it up to her. So finding out that she could hurt me in such an intentional way, it was something that I really struggled to fully accept. I tried to make excuses for her, but at the end of the day, I've always understood that cheating isn't something that can be blamed on the other party. If you cheat, you did it because you want to. You always have the choice to leave, and if you don't and choose to cheat instead, just accept the kind of person that you are. I found out that she was cheating because a friend of mine said she spotted her at a bar. It was a night when she told me that she was going to take our daughter to her sister's place. She said she was going to stay overnight, and that wasn't a new thing. Relatives wanted to spend time with our daughter, so I had no issue with it. It was a Friday night, so there wasn't much to do in the next day. I wouldn't have believed that it was her if not for the fact that she shared a video that he had taken at the bar. The lighting was bad, so the video quality wasn't great, but I could just tell that it was her, especially because I recognized the outfit she was wearing. She was talking to a guy, and she was being extremely touchy with him. It was enough for me to know that something was going on, but it wasn't concrete evidence, and I knew that if I had to confront my wife, I would rather know the full extent of what I was confronting her about. It would also stop me from making excuses for her, which was something that I wanted to stop doing. I went through her phone when I got the chance to, and it didn't take long for me to find out what was happening. She had a Tinder account. The man that she had met in the bar was a man that she had met on Tinder. I could tell because they made plans and the pictures seemed to match up with the guy in the video that was sent to me. Seeing the Tinder logo on her phone was enough to crush me. There's no reason unless you're one of those people who somehow got fooled into agreeing to an open relationship, and you definitely feel the same way as I did if you discover that your wife is on a dating app. I made sure to document as much of it as I could. I was able to see that she wasn't just messing around with one guy. She had at least 3 men she seemed to have met on Tinder over the last few months. I was able to tell that when she told me she was taking our daughter to her sister's place, her sister would basically serve as a babysitter while she went out to sleep around. I don't know if her sister knew what was going on or if she was an unknowing participant. I hope it is the latter because she seems like a good person, but so did Lily, so I guess that doesn't count for much at the end of the day. I knew that I was going to have to confront her. I didn't do things ideally. I know that I should have prepared for the divorce before going to talk to her, but it was too hard for me to hold back. I felt like I was dying inside. I respect the people who can plan things out perfectly, but I'm not one of those people. I was all over the place emotionally. I had to sort things out in my head, and the only way to do that was to let the emotions out. The next day, when our daughter was asleep, I told her that I needed to speak with her, and she could tell that it was something serious from my demeanor. I let her know that I knew what she had been doing behind my back. I wanted to know why she had chosen to hurt me that way. She tried to act like she didn't know what I was talking about, and it was making me mad. I asked her to be honest with me. I told her I already knew everything, and all I wanted was for her to give me one last bit of honesty. She was quiet for a long time, but she spoke up and she asked me if I really wanted to hear her be honest. I said yes. That's when she admitted to me that she had truly cheated on me and that she was sorry for it. But she said that she didn't do it because she hated me or because she was bored. She said she did it because she didn't have a spark in her life anymore, and that new people gave her some excitement. She said she knew it wasn't right, but that was the reason she had done it. I mentioned that she had never even mentioned the way that she felt to me. There was nothing that I could even do to try to fix the situation and make her feel better. That was the point when she told me that there was nothing I could have done because I was the reason why she felt like that in the first place. To be honest, I recoiled on hearing that. She noticed too and defended the statement. "You said I should be honest, and that's me being honest." I asked her how I was the one who had caused it. She said that I had held her back from her dreams. I was so confused when I heard that. I told her that I had spent our entire romantic life supporting her, especially after we got married, so I didn't understand how I was the one who held her back. She was never able to do her master's because she chose to follow me around and be a dutiful wife. She said that she sacrificed her dreams and her independence, and the moment she became a mother, she knew it was done for good. I told her that she was only 32, and it was way too early to act as if you couldn't do anything with your life any longer. She didn't care about what I had to say, though. She was entirely convinced that I was the reason she was miserable. I brought up everything. I mentioned how I'd been the one talking about her doing her master's program, even more than her at some points. I only stopped because she acted as if a master's anywhere else but her dream school wasn't worth it, and because she refused to endure a long-distance relationship for a year. I asked her whether I should have turned down the job offer I had. Our lives were so much better because of it, and that extended to our daughter. I wanted to know whether she felt I was truly the wrong one for accepting that job. It would have made no sense to stay behind in a limiting city for someone who showed no rush towards starting her postgraduate education. I told her that she was just trying to make me the bad guy because she couldn't handle the fact that she had effed up on her own, and I had nothing to do with it. It was her fault for feeling like a failure at 32 and acting like her life was over. She could have still done a lot, but instead, she went nuclear and decided to sleep with other men to feel better about herself. I told her that there was no direction for us to go but divorce. She didn't say anything, but she started crying at that point. There was nothing I could say. I didn't feel sorry for her. It still hurt so badly that she thought I was the one who ruined things. When I stood up, she asked me if I was sure, and I said yes. My yes became even more solid when she said, "Even though it was you? Even though you pushed me to this?" I've always heard jokes about women not taking accountability, but I swear that I never knew it was that bad. I had so many horrible things to say to her in that moment, and I'm not that kind of person, so I just walked out. I knew that getting her to move out was going to be hard because I was sure that she wasn't going to move out without our daughter. I didn't want to be away from her, so I didn't want to risk that, and I didn't want to have to move out myself. So I decided that the two of us would just live in the same house until the courts decided who would have it. I've been living with her since then, and to be honest, it has been miserable. A big part of me wants to move out and just come and see my daughter on a daily basis, but I'm probably going to lose my claim to the house for sure once I do that. That's why I'm just enduring. We basically don't talk to each other unless it has to do with our girl. She was served with divorce papers about a week after I confronted her, and when I did that, she came to beg one last time. She hadn't had much to say the entire time we were giving each other the silent treatment, but once I made it clear that I wasn't joking, she had to give it one last try. I stood my ground, of course. If I didn't, I would have been too embarrassed to come and write this. There's no space to forgive cheaters, not with me at least. That's pretty much where we are right now. It's not a fun position to be in, especially with my little girl in the mix. When I realize that she's not even going to have a single memory of her biological parents loving each other, it hurts me. But there's nothing that I can really do about that situation, and that's sad. I just have to hope to show her love in different ways. I will still do my best to be a fantastic father to her. Update. In case you didn't see my last post, here's the lowdown. My wife cheated on me because she said I held her back from her dreams, despite the fact that I tried my best to make her dreams happen, and despite the fact that we both decided to have a daughter when we did. It still hurts me that she treats our girl like she blocked her off from her best life, rather than the blessing that she is. Anyway, I'm happy to say that I'm now a free man. I'm no longer tied down to a cheating wife. It's hard to be a single man after so long. It is incredibly hard, but I prefer to be this than to be with a person who I can't trust. It's been hard getting used to life alone again, but I'm trying my best to make it work. Here's what happened during the entire divorce process. We entered the negotiation phase, and we were pretty close to coming to an agreement. I didn't mind paying child support because it was for my daughter's sake, even though nothing stops her from spending it on herself, as a lot of women do. But I refused to pay alimony, and that was the point that we couldn't agree on. She wanted that, child support, and she still wanted to be the one to keep the house. That was basically her getting everything. She thought giving me 50-50 custody was some kind of gift. Eventually, we had to go in front of a judge. My lawyer was great, but he gave me a realistic expectation from the start. He told me that I might not get what I'm looking for, and I accepted that. Things weren't all bad for me, though. She got the house, which I don't mind, because I got my cut, and she's stuck with the mortgage now, not me. Child support and alimony just had to make it in, which is annoying, but I was able to get a very reasonable alimony obligation. It won't take long to get through with it. Custody was split down the middle, which is what I expected to happen. I knew me asking for anything more than 50% and getting it would have been a dream. The funny thing is that because of our daughter, I told myself that I wasn't going to try and get revenge on Lily. There was no point, and I didn't want to do anything that would put our daughter in a bad position. So I left her to her life. It took quite some time, but on one of the days that I went to pick up our daughter, she said that she wanted to talk to me. For someone who usually had an attitude, she seemed soft that day, like she used to be, and I already knew that something had to be off. I thought it was going to be a favor to ask for money or something, but she told me that it was something more than that. She apologized for behavior. She said that she had started going to church again, and she realized how much she had hurt me. She never should have blamed me for being the one who held her back from her dreams and being the one who made her cheat. She accepted that it was all on her. It was nice hearing that, whether she meant it or not. I asked what she wanted, and that was when she told me that life was miserable for her. She thought that she'd be free, but it didn't feel that way. She was budgeting a lot more than she was used to, and dealing with our daughter alone was tough. She realized how much I contributed, and she was sorry for ever making me feel that any kind of way. I acknowledged her apology, and I waited for her to get to the point. Let's say I wasn't surprised when she started crying and asked if we could give things another try. Before I could say anything, she said we could start slow, and we didn't need to worry about marriage. But she wasn't happy with her life, and she knew it was her fault. She said she missed me, but I read through it. She missed the restaurants and the gifts and the vacations. She couldn't do that on her own, and she realized how I was the major reason she had any happiness. But she chose to sell that just to sleep with other men. I told her there was no chance we would get back together. I told her that we wouldn't have anything to do with each other if we didn't have a daughter together. I despised her for cheating on me, and I would never do anything about it beyond letting her know. But she had to sit with the guilt of knowing how she had ruined our lives and ruined our daughter's life. I told her that our daughter was never going to grow up with two happy parents because of her. She started full-on bawling at that point, and I picked up my daughter and left. I feel bad for feeling satisfaction seeing her like that, but I felt a lot of it. A whole lot. That's life for you, though. Sometimes it throws curveballs, and you just have to adapt to it. I'm still trying to do that, but I think I'm doing an okay job. Edit. This will be my last post on this whole thing, but to those concerned, I've done a paternity test on my daughter, and I confirmed that she is mine. So that's a big relief for me. I don't know how I would have gone on if she weren't my daughter. I don't have to worry about that, though, so I'll just take things a day at a time from here. She wanted excitement? Congratulations, she found it. And 3 different men while her husband was busy keeping a roof over her head and raising her child. And now she's crying about how miserable her life is? Honey, misery is the price you pay when you cheat on the person who literally tried to make everything work for you. She cheated herself out of a life that could have been good. Have you ever supported someone's dreams only to have them resent you for it? What happened? Let us know below. Thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.